Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Most Important Conversations Daily Meditations. We host these meditations Monday through Friday. The broad theme of all the meditations is liberation, and before each meditation, there is a short talk, and the content of these talks in support of the main theme of liberation is derived from our main program, Whole Life Architecture. Whole Life Architecture is a program where people are actively recreating their lives. They are stepping into their power as the creator of their life so that they can create a life by design and no longer tolerate a life by default, a life of conditioning, a life of expectations, shoulds, and musts that were designed by other people. People in whole life architecture are no longer willing to live someone else's life. They are creating their life. And yesterday, we started to talk about creativity as a theme for the month. As I said yesterday, the beginning of every year is a rebirth, is an opportunity to begin again. And so the question before all of us is, in your beginning again, in your rebirth, in this moment, are you going to be relegated to the roughly 98% of people who make New Year's resolutions and fail to implement them or to glean any kind of evolution from them? We discussed yesterday that you can't just simply will yourself into being a new you. You have to step into your power as a creator. Understand the power of creativity. Understand how it works. Understand the resistance that we have all been indoctrinated to put up against creativity. After all, we live in a consumer-based society, a consumer-based economy, and the distinction between creating and consuming is enormous. When you are consuming life from the outside in. When we talk about consuming, we don't just mean the consumption of things, although it does include that. But even before the things are consumed, we've consumed ideas. We've consumed ideas about what we should buy, what we should look like, why we should look like it, how we should dress. We consume ideas through social media, through our networks of communities that we're a part of. As social creatures, human beings are always seeking clues that validate their being from the outside. This is a consumptive way of living. We consume not just ideas, we consume time. We waste time, we kill time, we spend time. We consume space. We take up space, often without intention. We just take it up. When you're a consumer of life, you can't be connected to the creator within you. And yet that is what is required in order to create a life by design, as opposed to merely tolerating a life by default. And when I ask the question, have you created your life by design, or are you merely tolerating your life by default? It is essential to be clear-eyed about this question, especially at this moment in history. For this is the primary question of our time at this moment. Faced with unparalleled change that we are going through, 2026, the new year, emerges as a unique opportunity to step into the unknown of change, but standing firmly in your power as a creator doing so. It's the opportunity and the possibility of reconnecting to our authentic, aligned creator self. We can either choose this with self-trust and in total self-trust to boldly cross into the current of the unknown of change, knowing that we are reconnected to our essence as a creator. Or we can, again this year, meekly retreat. We can retreat from, or we can lash out in reaction to this moment and go back to living the way we lived last year. Because it's the devil we know. The whole underlying thesis of how we have lived and who we have been conditioned to be in order to tolerate living in the current system and the structures that support it is fracturing on every level right now. These proverbial walls that have constituted the systems and structures of our life. Think about how the economy is changing. Think about how geopolitics is changing. Think about the challenges we're dealing with climate change. Think about the disruption that is about to be caused, or that has already begun to be caused by artificial intelligence. These systems and structures that have defined our society are dramatically changing, and that's going to have real-world impact on our individual life. And as everything in our world, politically, economically, environmentally, emotionally, and spiritually is transforming, there's a nervous system dysregulation that is going to begin to occur. It already is happening. This is why you're seeing all of the lashing out in violence and the argumentation that is typified of the social media sphere, so much for being social. This dysregulation or freaking out is occurring because the stability and the predictability of how we have lived and continue to live our lives up until this point is now being disrupted. The consumer economy is transforming into a creator economy. And so that presents an opportunity for each of us to take this moment in history and to realize that we have the opportunity to recreate ourselves, because the systems and structures that defined and were so powerful in defining who we were and how we showed up are cracking, presenting an opening for us to reclaim ourselves, to recreate ourselves, to fully be whole and complete in and of our creator self. How do you want to live? What kind of life do you want to create for yourself? What dreams have you had over the course of your life that you've pushed into the background? What desires have you had that you have suppressed? 2026 can be the beginning of a new you. Not as a New Year's trope, but as a true demarcation or line in the sand where the rest of your life will look nothing like the life you've lived, if you choose this. You may not want to choose this, but some of you do. Now, the freak out that we go through, the nervous system dysregulation when change occurs, shows up in many ways. You may be experiencing some of these symptoms. It can show up in the form of depression, escapism, impatience, anxiety, and for some, even violence. And these are just typical behaviors of how humans, with different life experiences and different capacities, how they try to manage and integrate change. They grasp for some semblance of past predictability, because our brain is only interested in predictability, in stability, in homeostasis. And that objective is being challenged by the unparalleled transformation of every system and structure in our society that is happening right now. As Buckminster Fuller put it, environment is more powerful than willpower. So as our entire structural environment is transformed, those without the cognitive, emotional, sensual, and spiritual tools are relegated to the predictable trauma that will only further their destruction. So you see, the path forward in this moment of change is not allowing oneself to drop into escapism, impatience, to ruminate on the past such that we drop into a depression. What there is to do is to work on ourselves, so that we can separate our old identity that was tied and fixed to the system. We can leave that, and we can allow a new us to emerge, the us we've repressed, the desires we've repressed, the hopes, the dreams, the visions, the possibilities we have repressed over the years. We can now allow those to breathe. But we have to become a master of creating the context for our authentic creator self to emerge. We have to be able to learn how to be with uncertainty, learn how to be with the unknown, learn how to be adaptive, learn how to think creatively and critically. And incidentally, this is what the entire program of whole life architecture prepares you to do. Now, one of the techniques that we teach as part of whole life architecture and that we teach during these meditations is the ability to observe and watch. That is, to step outside of the context of the life that you are in reaction to, and to be able to work on that life. I stated yesterday that in business, this is the difference between working in your business or on your business. In whole life architecture, we are helping people liberate themselves from their conditioning. That means they are no longer in the context of their conditioning, to step into their power as a creator so they can work on their life versus working in their life. Working on their life as the creator, the architect, the master painter, the master musician of your life. And so this morning we're going to practice the watcher-observer meditation, which is how we develop the skill to be in the world but not of it. Because to be a creator of your life, you can't be of the world. As soon as you are of the conditioning of the world, as soon as you are of the context of the world, you are sucked into its value system. You are sucked into its expectations. You are sucked into the rules by which it wants you to operate. And you are sucked into an identity that you co-opt from the conditioning, and not an identity that you create for yourself. You are in reaction to the validation-seeking expectations, people-pleasing of others. And so as we move into our Watcher-Observer meditation this morning, it's an opportunity for you to, and it takes time to learn, but it's an opportunity for you to begin to distinguish being able to participate in the world without being of it. It's an opportunity for you to begin to distinguish the ability to observe the life around you without making it mean anything about you, without getting enrolled in it. Without becoming attached to it. You want to be clear-eyed. You want to have no obstruction in your vision for who you are creating yourself to be. And by allowing yourself to fall into the context of the conditioning, it becomes a little hazy and confusing. This is where most people hang out, confused, unsure of who they are, always in reaction from one circumstance to another, seeking to fit in, to be validated for fitting in, and then to go home and in the quietness of your own thoughts, your desires maybe pop up, your dreams, your visions, and you put them aside and you say, maybe another day. Is 2026 the year where those visions, those desires come online? Well, you as the creator have to create a context for them to come online, and that context can't be filled with the rules, regulations, system structures, conditioning, and expectations of the world. You can be in the world, doing what you're doing, interacting with people, creating what you're creating, but you don't need to operate of the world's rules and expectations. You don't have to be mired down by all of the shoulds and the musts and the validation seeking. And so the Watcher-Observer meditation helps to develop the skill set to be in the world but not of it, to be the observer, the watcher, and not the doer, not the reactor. And when you're in the world and not of it, you move from reaction to responding. You have this space between what's happening in the context of the world and your response to it, because you're not of it anymore. You're not enrolled in it. Your life doesn't depend on it. And so, as we move into the Watcher-Observer meditation this morning, be seated in a comfortable position, taking a few deep cleansing breaths. And there's nothing to do, there's no guidance going on when we do the Watcher-Observer meditation. You are practicing the skill of not having to be in reaction to your every thought and all of your emotions. You are practicing allowing your thoughts to rise, drift in and out of your awareness, and for you to not have to think them, or to not even have them think you, to just simply be able to observe them. You are allowing your emotions to rise and fall, not in reaction to them, to fully feel them, to observe them, to glean the wisdom from them, but not to react to them. Like waves in the ocean, they will rise and fall, and rise and fall, and rise and fall. Your thoughts will drift in and out of your awareness like clouds moving through the blue sky. You do not have to think them. If you find yourself drifting into thought, if you find yourself ruminating, if you find yourself moving into planning and scheduling and all of the things you've got to get done today, catch yourself and drop back into that clear space of your mind. Allow that thought to drift off. Thank it for coming. Even name it. You can say planning, scheduling. Acknowledge it and let it move along. And you'll find as you do this, your mind becomes clearer. Maybe not in the first session or 10 sessions or even 100 sessions. It's different for everyone. But there will be a moment, if practiced consistently, where you will find yourself perceptually out of the world, like you're watching it on a movie screen, like you can see the plot, like you know what's going to happen next, and you have no attachment to it. You are not enrolled in it at all. You have the ability to maneuver around it without it disrupting your center. So let's move into that meditation now. And for the next few moments, you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You're the watcher and the observer of them. And see if you can stay detached and disconnected from your thoughts and emotions, all the while observing them, watching them, fully feeling them, but not reacting to them. And just allow yourself to sit in peace and quiet and be with the glorious creative space from which all new creativity emerges as your thoughts and emotions do what they do, independent of the true you. And I'll see you all in a few minutes. And welcome back, everybody. Reconnecting to the world without from the world within. Reconnecting to the world in a way where you are in it but not of it. You might notice a quality of being separate or distant from, even a small quality after that meditation. You might notice a peace in your body, in your mind, the chatter, the freneticism, the electricity of the world has silenced. And in this silence, see as we go about our day, if you can remain there, even for a little while. I know it's going to be difficult, but the more you practice this, the more you can leave these meditations and stay in that bubble of creative space, of silence. You're moving in the world and going about your day, but you're no longer of it. You will notice over time a distinct separation. And this is important because as a creator, you want to work on things and not be completely trapped inside of it. You need that perspective, that vantage point. And so as we move about our day this morning, I want to encourage you to reflect on the space and the experience of the space you may be feeling, and to stay connected for as long as you can to that space, even for the next 20, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour as you go about your day. See if you can perceptually stay connected. Your thoughts moving in and out of your awareness, your emotions rising and falling as you fully feel and process them, but do not get attached, do not ruminate. A thought, it's been said that emotions only last in our body about 90 seconds, but it's the story that we wrap around these emotions that can last years as we relive them over and over and over and reactivate those emotions over and over again. See this morning if you can let your emotions in, feel them, and let them drop away. The more you practice this, the easier it will get. I want to wish you all a wonderful day, and we will continue tomorrow. We have a guided neurosculpting meditation tomorrow. I'll see you all.